Morning, everyone. I'm Mark Calloway, one of the application engineers here at Man & Machine. We're going to take a look at some of the new features in the Autodesk 2022 range of applications. So I'm going to jump straight into the software this morning for you. We'll take a look at AutoCAD first. Okay. So one of the new features with AutoCAD that I want to show you is the share function. Okay. So in AutoCAD, which hopefully you can all see on your screens here, if I head over to the Collaborate tab, we have this new group on the left-hand side called Share, and in there we've got this new function called Share Drawings. What this allows us to do is share our drawings, and we have two different methods of sharing. So if I just go ahead and start the tool there for you. Okay. So when it comes to sharing your drawings with other people, you can do a view-only mode. So the users can see the drawing. They're unable to make any changes. They're also unable to save a copy of the drawing. And we have this second function here, which allows the users to edit the drawings and also save a separate copy of the file. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly demonstrate this one for you. So selecting the view-only option, we get provided with a link that we can share. If I just hit the preview button here, we'll head over to the AutoCAD web app, and it should automatically sign me in a second there and load that up. Here we go. So it's going to open up the drawing. This is what they'll be able to see. They're unable to make any changes to this. It is read-only, but they can access the parameters from there, and they're unable to save a copy of that. Jumping back into AutoCAD to change the permissions, it's just as simple as clicking the edit and save a copy button. And again, this time, if we hit the preview and head through to that web link, again, it's just going to take 2 seconds for my computer to catch up here and load that up in the AutoCAD web app. There we go. And using that, the user can then make changes to the drawing. It's no longer read-only, and they have the option to save. Okay, so it's a nice new feature for sharing and working collaboratively. Also, we have a new traces system added to AutoCAD 2. Okay, so when a user opens up a drawing in the AutoCAD web app, on the left-hand side on the menu here, we have this new traces feature. Okay. What this allows us to do is add markups and notes and anything like that to the drawing without actually affecting the drawing. Okay, so we're kind of tracing over the existing drawing, and I'll just show you what I mean here. If I click the new trace button, okay, we get access to all these tools down here. We have our draw tools, annotate, and modify tools. For example, if I just zoom in on this drawing here, we're going to add or need to add a new desk here for another employee. I'm just going to put a revision cloud over here. Maybe add a note. Okay. So we need a new desk here, for example. Okay. If I want to change the size of the text, I can do that too. Okay. I have all the information for this new trace on the left-hand side. If I want to rename that, I can do so there. And once I'm happy with the changes that I've made here, I can simply click this little finish button, this little tick button at the top for done. And that's created a new trace. I've not modified the drawing. I've just created a new trace over the top of this drawing. I can then save this under a new file name. Let's just stick the word trace on the end of the file there. There we go. That's saved through the AutoCAD web app. And if I just go back to AutoCAD, I will open up this new file that I've just created. There we go. What we have is this new traces palette, again on the Collaborate tab. Selecting this traces palette, I get a list of all the traces on the right hand side here, and we can see the one that I've just created through the web app. Selecting that trace will show me all the detailing or annotations that I've just made there. Once I'm happy with that, I can just click the green little finish tick button, and that'll return me back into my main drawing. Okay. We do have new commands for these features. So for trace, it's just trace, and for share drawings, it's share. If you're ever unsure what command to use for any of these new features, you can always go back to the main menu. You've got this little search bar at the top there. So if I wanted to find out where share was or what command to use, you can always access that up there. Okay, that's an existing feature. Okay. We can also count now quite easily within Revit. Using the count command, I can select a block or piece of geometry within AutoCAD. For example, I can select one of these office chairs here. Revit's going to find all the blocks within the drawing. It's going to give me a total up at the top of the screen here. We can see there's a total of 66 of these chairs. You can cycle through them using these arrows. And should you wish to put a total somewhere within the drawing, you also have this feature here to insert a count field. And I can add that into the drawing. This will automatically update with the drawing as you regenerate it. So if you delete any chairs, so for example, if I select this one here, we'll delete it, quickly regenerate the model. And that 66 has changed to 65. Okay. We also have a count palette. I can remember where that's gone, one of those little brain freeze moments. So let's see if I can find out where the count palette's gone. There we go. Okay. So again, this is going to list all the blocks within the drawing. It does give us a count on the right-hand side. What we have is this little button up at the top next to this little search bar here, which will allow us to create a table for all of these or any combination of these into the drawing. Selected it. It just simply provides a tick box for each of these. I can tick the lot of them, select the insert button, and it allows me to place a full table into the drawing. Okay. We also now have floating windows within AutoCAD. Okay. We can see we have a number of tabs across the top of the screen for multiple projects I currently have open. If I hold down on these tabs, I can now drag that window outside of AutoCAD. Okay. It is independent. So if you've got multiple screens or you want to tile screens on your computer, we can do so. Okay. There's no limit to undocking these. If I want to redock them, it's just as simple as dragging the window back over the tabs at the top and just letting go. And Revit will automatically, AutoCAD will automatically dock those back up there. Okay. The other last feature I want to mention on AutoCAD is this new push to Autodesk Docs. Okay. This will automatically convert your sheets to PDF and send them onto Autodesk Docs. Okay. And we'll be taking a look at Autodesk Docs later on this morning. Okay. Next, we'll take a quick look at Recap. Okay, Recap Pro. So I'm just using one of the standard Recap point clouds in this example. We have a new mesh feature, scan to mesh, within Recap Pro. If I just click the start button, we'll get this options screen populate here. And what this allows us to do is upload this scan cloud to the Autodesk servers. And the servers will then convert the point cloud scan into a mesh model, which we can then access in Recap Photo. We have a number of options on here. We can choose the quality, low, medium, or high. Okay. We can also choose the file formats that we want to use. And it's also going to tell us how much it's going to cost in terms of cloud credits. Okay. Once you're happy with the settings on this screen, you can hit the submit button. I'm not going to do that now. As you can see, there's an estimated 42-minute wait there. So I've pre-done this for us. If I just hit cancel, jump over to Recap Photo, this is what you can get. Okay, so it's turned what was just points. If I just jump back in, you can see if I zoom right in, these are just thousands and thousands of little dots that are making up this model. But if I go into Recap Photo, we can see that it's converted them all into services. Okay, you can then interrogate this model. You can improve the quality. Okay, that's a nice new feature to Recap there. Moving on to Revit, okay, we have greater integration with Format. Okay, I just jump into a 3D view, and again, I'm just using one of the default, one of the standard models that come preloaded with Revit here. Okay, if I go to the Collaborate tab, sorry, the Massing and Site tab here, we have this new 3D sketch button. Okay, this is going to take our Revit project and load it directly into Format. If I just go ahead and click the button there, we get two options. We can load the entire model from Format, from Revit into Format, or we can select the components that we want to transfer. Okay, I'm just going to do everything that's visible in this model, and it should only take a few seconds. Or traditionally, it's only taken a few seconds. There we go. Or maybe not. Let's try that again. Certainly thinking about it. Yeah, here we go. I'm cheating and I'm just using a trial license at the moment for Format. Let's just click the start button. There we go. We have our Revit model. Okay. So what you need to do is make sure that you do have a license. Okay. So that's just going to load your Revit project directly into Format. Okay. You can then make changes within Format. I'm just going to simply add a piece of geometry there. Okay. And what we can do in Format is reload that model back into Revit. Okay, so we have this new feature to send the selected model back into Revit. This has been added to, so we now have this bi-directional functionality between Revit and Format 2022. Okay, so I'm just going to tell it to load that change. And if we jump back into Revit, much smoother process there. You can see that the changes that we've made within Format can be applied directly into your Revit model live there. Okay, so let's take a look at some more of the new features within Revit. Okay, so one of the things we have now is previously you could split your schedules across multiple sheets, but that's been simplified now. Okay, it's a much easier process. Okay, so let's have a look at our schedules on here. So we have a simple plant schedule. Let's just quickly itemize all these just to make it a little bit longer. And we've got something to work with. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to start a new sheet. I'm going to go with a default title block. And anyone that's familiar with Revit, we just simply drag and drop the schedule onto a sheet. Okay, there were a few workarounds in the past if you had really, really long schedules and you wanted them over multiple sheets. All we need to do in Revit now is select the schedule. You've got this little split icon on the right-hand side, about halfway down, that splits it into 2 columns. Nothing really new there. But now what that does is if we look back at the project browser and go back to our planting schedule and expand it, we now have this breakdown of the schedule. And the more times we split it, the more of these sections that it creates. Okay, and you can then place these independently on other sheets. Okay, so if I start a second new sheet, again, just using the standard title block, instead of having to place the whole schedule on there and then start hiding bits of it and stuff like that, I can simply drag and drop the section of the schedule that I want to place on this particular sheet, and I can add it independently there. I can then go to another sheet and maybe I want the third part of that schedule on there. And again, just simply drag and drop. Much, much easier process than it was previously. Okay. We can also access families from the cloud within Revit. Okay. If I head over to the Insert tab, we have this new Load Autodesk Family button. This is going to access the Autodesk servers on the cloud. There's a large selection of families available on there. Okay, let's see if we can find something nice. Let's go to furniture. Okay, there's a very nice looking bed. We'll select that. This is all on the cloud. I'm just going to simply hit the load button. That's going to download the family into the project. That's now in here available for us to use. And it goes without saying that you need an internet connection for that to work. Okay. I'm just going to head to the architecture tab, go to components, and that family is now available for us to place. Okay. And maybe we'll have a bed right there in the living room. Okay. So a nice new feature. Okay. Just whilst we're on the screen here, another nice little feature that's been added is the ability to use the rotate command on tags. Okay. Previously, trying to rotate a tag wouldn't really have an effect. Now with the tag selected, using the rotate command, if I want to rotate it, I don't know, by 45 degrees, it's as easy as that. Okay. So a little feature, but a nice one. Another nice new feature is when we select an object within Revit and we look at the properties, we can see the properties that haven't been filled in quite easily. Okay, for example, this chair has no mark number. Maybe it's chair number 5. Maybe the chair next to it is number 6. And maybe the chair further down here is number 7. Okay, that's nice until you start selecting multiple components. Traditionally within Revit, if there was multiple values, you would still just get a blank box, giving you no indication as to whether a value existed for a parameter. Now we get this varies. Okay, so if you've got multiple selections, and this is the same for schedules as well, where you've got components grouped together, instead of it just simply giving you a blank box, giving you no indication as to whether the parameter has been completed or not, we now get this varies text that appears. Okay, you can customize what it says in this box. You don't have to go with varies. If we head over to the Manage tab, okay, go to Additional Settings. Right at the very bottom, we've got this multiple values indication. In here, we can choose whether it displays the various text, or we can choose our own custom text for it to display. Okay. Jumping back onto Sheets, we now have greater customization when it comes to revisions. Okay. If I can find it again, there we go. If I go to the Views tab and go to our revision settings, we have greater control. Okay. If I just create a new sequence here, okay, we have numeric, we have alphanumeric. We can specify the minimum number of digits. This is all new. We can choose a starting number, we can choose prefix, and we can choose a suffix, okay, giving you greater control over your revisions. Another small change, but again, a nice and something that's been asked for a while. I can go to the right screen again. Okay. Revit now comes with a built-in PDF printer. Okay. So no longer do you have to download some free PDF software or pay for some professional PDF printer. Revit comes with one built-in. Okay. Again, just another nice little feature that's been asked for quite some time. Okay. In previous releases of Revit, they added the ability to slope your walls. They've expanded on that. You can now have tapered walls within Revit. Okay. Selecting a wall and looking at its properties. If we go to this cross section, we now have this new tapered ability. Okay. So we do need the wall to have variable layers. So let me just very quickly change that. There we go. Okay. It's just warning me about the analytical model. I'm not bothered about that. Let's close that. Did that apply? There we go. Okay. So we can now specify the angle on the exterior face and the interior face. Okay. So maybe on the exterior face, I'm going to put a 5% slope on there. Okay. And you can see it adjusting the angle of the wall. You do get your temporary dimensions still. Okay. So you can directly on the drawing adjust the angles should you wish. But we can also change the interior angle too. Okay. And I'm going to make that one 6% as well. Okay. So again, tapered walls, another very nice new feature. The last feature I'm going to show you is in 3D views. We can now add our grids. Okay. I'm just going to hide the topography here, just so it's nice and clear on everyone's screens. Okay. So in our 3D view, if we look in the properties window at the view properties, we now have this show grids option and this edit button. If we go into there, we can choose at what levels within the project that Revit's going to display the grids. Okay. For example, if I want the grids to be displayed at level 2, I can simply tick the box for level 2. You can select multiple levels should you wish. But it's now going to add our grids into the 3D view. Okay. Thank you for watching.